Welcome to the Misfit One Lifestyles with Elizabeth Colin. She will awaken and connect with your Misfit One. Are you tired of the ups and downs in your life? Are you ready to live a healthy lifestyle once and for all? We are talking about all aspects of your life. Being fit is not just physical, it's also your mind and soul. Learn how to take steps in your life to move towards your goals. Elizabeth's goal is for everyone listening to the sound of her voice to get fit. Let's get focused, let's get intentional, and let's transform. Now here's your host, Elizabeth Colin.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Misfit One Lifestyles with your host, Elizabeth Colin, also known as Misfit One. Listen, get your pen and paper out because our one and only guest for today is the man that's going to get your soft skills right. Look, if you're under a certain age, you know you need them. So welcome to the show, TJ Good-Armson. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Listen, I am so excited that you are here. But for those of you for the people who do not know you, could you give them a little background about yourself?
Sure. I'm originally from Norway, hence the name. I've been coaching and teaching for going on 15 years now. I've been specializing in soft skill the whole time, applying it to different areas of life. And after I moved to the US, I have started doing a lot more online stuff as well, in addition to the live seminars and coaching that I do.
Right.
And so currently I have a lot of online courses out. I'm a LinkedIn instructor, which has treated me very well. In the last 2 years alone, I've had over 200,000 people enroll in my LinkedIn courses. And I love what I do. I'm super passionate about teaching these things, and I love talking to people about it and engaging with it. So I'm one of those lucky people who get to literally work with my passion. It's one of my favorite things that I do is work, and that's a weird and wonderful thing.
You know that old saying, if you do something that you love, you'll never work another day, right? Another day in your life. So can we just break down what you mean when you say soft skills? Because, we've heard people use it in so many different terms, but can you give us a good definition of soft skills?
I can give you my definition. I don't know how good it is.
Right, yeah, for you.
But yeah, so for me, soft skills is communication and all the things that you build your communication on, such as confidence or self-esteem, which of course influences how we show up in the world, whether it's how we show up for ourselves or with our loved ones or professionally or any of that. So to me, soft skills are all the skills and qualities that help you partake and participate in the world through your interaction and communication.
Which is very important because, I'm a woman of a certain age, right? And we were interactive. Right. I'll be 51. So we didn't have computers and all that stuff constantly in our face. So we had to learn to kind of like read the crowd sort of thing. Whereas, and I think that a lot of soft skills are missing with our youth because even, for example, when they are watching, when we watch cartoons, when Bugs Bunny did something, it didn't have a soundtrack in the background that said laugh, right? You either laughed or you didn't get it. You was like, ha, 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 or I don't understand. Well, now the shows have a backtrack that laughs. So you go, oh, I should laugh, ha, ha, ha. And so we are missing, I talked to several teachers and we talk about that, and it affects their soft skills because they don't know how to communicate or read the room. Have you found that?
So I think there's a truth to that for a lot of young people, not for everyone. There are some young people who are fantastically, attuned socially. I think there's a trade-off as well, because the younger generation have certain other qualities or experiences that they can build on. So, the digital world is a simple example of how young people tend to be better at communicating digitally and all that than older.
Right.
But there's also the part of being able to leverage or tap into things such as social proof or stuff like that for the older generation, I'm turning 41 and I am a nerd and I love computers. As soon as I could get one, my parents would get me one. I had one. But the concept of building social proof, of seeing what the majority is doing or what people hook onto or get interested in, that seems to be a domain where the younger crowd does better.
Killing it.
Right? And as long as they don't fall into the trap of thinking that they need social proof in order to feel good about themselves or be popular or whatever, but they can see that it is a tool that they can use. There's a reason so many brand managers and online content managers and stuff are in their 20s. It's because they can take a quick look at something and break it down in ways that I can't because I didn't grow up with that. So I think there's a trade-off. There's some things that they can benefit from leveraging into also their personal communication, their face-to-face, real life communication. But for those who spend too much time in the digital world and not enough interacting socially, that can definitely put them behind on real world soft skills.
Right. And when I talk about the soft skills as well, I talk about how we show up, right? Like you said earlier, how we show up, how to take up space. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Because to me, it kind of shows up as confidence. But let's talk about that a little bit. And that's for all ages. It's Absolutely. Very important, you guys. This is the time to grab your pen because he wants to give you some tips on how to show up in your environment and take up space, more space.
Yeah, it's interesting because the people who aren't comfortable taking up space tend to believe that taking up space means to, run other people over, or you need to be the center of attention always. You need to be the, alpha, as they say, or be in charge. And you really don't. I mean, some people do it that way. Don't get me wrong. We all know the people who need to always be the person in charge or whatever.
My husband.
There you go.
He's not listening. It's okay. Go ahead, TJ.
Right. But then if you see the people who are, who people genuinely enjoy being around and who also take up space, what they really do is present themselves with very little censorship. They speak when they have something on their mind. They participate, they join in when they want to join in, they lead when they want to lead. They're what I like to call independents. They're not necessarily leaders, they're not necessarily followers, they're independents. They can switch in and out from whatever role or whatever place in the social group they're in based on what makes sense to them, based on where they want to be in that moment. So taking up space to me is not about you have to always do this, you have to always do that. Taking up space is doing what you genuinely feel is right for you in that moment or necessary for you to get what you want. And it can be to speak up to the group and get everyone to listen. It can be to talk to the one friend next to you while everyone else is doing something else. Or it can simply be to go do the thing you want to do on your own, whether people are coming along or not. And so the people who don't take up space, a very simple place to start to take up a little more space is to remove some of the filter between your thoughts and your mouth. And I'm not saying completely unashamedly express every thought you have, because that can, cause its own issues. But when you have a question, ask the question. Don't worry about whether it's a good question or not. When you have an opinion, state it, whether you think it's right or people are going to agree or not. When you have something that you need, ask for it rather than sit around and hoping someone will offer it to you. So really just express more of what's going on inside of you and you'll automatically start taking up more space.
Facts. I love that. I love that because I believe that you don't have to be the loudest person in the room. You don't have to be, look at me, look at me, look at me. But, if you are just authentic to who you are, because I'm a goofball. I was just visiting my grandbaby and it was cold outside and I was jumping all around going, ooh, and she goes, stop acting weird, yeah. Right? So I said, but I am weird.
Mhm.
I am weird, you know? And so it was so funny because her face was like that. I'm weird. I act silly like this. I act silly, right? And so we were doing something else and she did something really funny. And then she looked at us and she goes, I'm just weird. And I loved it. I loved every
Perfect.
bit of it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's perfect. I have a goddaughter who many years or several years ago, she was like 6 or 7. Whenever I come to visit, we just play. Like I don't tell kids, I'm not in charge, so I don't tell kids no. I do what I want to do. If she wants to have ice cream and I want ice cream, we're gonna have some ice cream.
Let's have ice cream, yeah.
Right. And so I'm there and we're just playing, and then she has this moment of just stopping, and she looks straight at me and she goes, Godfather, why are you fun? And what she was really asking was why I wasn't like the other adults who were sitting over in the couch having their coffee, talking about whatever they were talking about. And don't get me wrong, I joined them later on because they're my friends, but I was there to hang out with her. And when I'm hanging out with her, I'm expressing myself in the way that I enjoy expressing myself when I'm with children. And so it's as you said, it's that authenticity. If you can be more of yourself, you're both going to take up space in a great way, and you're going to start attracting the same kind of people that fits into that.
I love that because it's very true on so many levels. And we think about it with our peer groups, our work colleagues, our relationship. It's really, really different. And I love the example you gave because the adults were sitting there talking, adulting, right? Adulting. And we can all do that. We can all go and sit and be adults. We played at that a lot.
Sure.
We can imitate that.
Yeah.
But the point of it is that I really took from what you just said was how you were able to play with your goddaughter and embrace what you felt at that moment with her. If you feel like doing it, let's do it, you know?
Right.
And that takes courage in a lot of ways because society has often tried to shame you into feeling the norm, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I mean, I grew up being the shy, timid, insecure, careful guy in class. Like I never raised my hand. I had the answers most of the time. Never raised my hand because I didn't want to speak up, even though I knew, even when I knew I was right, I didn't want the attention. You know, I was trying so hard to fit in that I didn't. I was trying so hard to fit in that I wasn't showing myself, and so I had some really good friends. I had a couple of really close friends, but that was it. And to everyone else, I was just a nice but not really interesting guy. And it wasn't until my mid-20s that I realized that I can't keep living like this because I'm only, my life is only whatever falls into my lap, especially when it comes to my relationships and my people. And so I started in my 20s by doing exactly what we've been talking about, focusing more on, okay, what's going on in me? What are my questions? What are my opinions? What are my thoughts? And then making myself, practicing, sharing that more and more. And what my experience is, and most of my clients, is that, yeah, there's going to be, when you start making changes like that, there are going to be a few people in your life who don't like it because they want you to fit into that role that they put you in where they're comfortable with you being, that works for them, but not for you.
Right.
But most people who love you and respect you, they're going to watch you grow and watch you thrive and love that and be supportive. And those who aren't supportive, they don't really belong in your life anyway. So it's not a big deal.
Right. And listen, you guys, TJ is telling you facts over here, like facts. The people who love you, love you.
Yep. Period.
You can be weird. They like, oh yeah. Like my grandbaby, she was like, oh, okay, Yaya's weird. And she's smiling and laughing. She's 3, and then it allowed her to open up to, I'm weird too, right?
Exactly.
And a lot of times, like you said, our peers will fall into place if they're meant to be. And a lot of times they're just waiting for you to open up so that they can too.
Oh,
have
yeah.
you found that?
There's so a lot of especially when I work with coaching clients, because I work with people long term, so I get to really look into their life and see what's going on. And a lot of times when I'm working with people who come to me for personal reasons, they want, expand their networks, meet more friends, be more comfortable. So many of them are surprised and shocked to find that once they start, expressing themselves more, being more authentic, people around them who they thought were just acquaintances or who they thought didn't even like them suddenly become so interested in them and so engaged in what's going on, because as they start to show their own personality, they start to connect with the people around them that they're compatible with. And it becomes so much easier also when you go out and meet strangers, whether you the kind of person who like to go to bar and talk to people, or you're at networking events or, dinners with friends or whatever, and you meet new people. There's something really, really attractive. And I'm using that in a general sense, not necessarily in a romantic sense. There's something really attractive about people that you can see are just being themselves. Even if you don't fully connect with that person, even if you don't even really, that's not the kind of person you want to be around, you're going to notice them. You're going to pay attention to these people, because authenticity, being genuine, is just such a fantastic quality that so few people express willingly and openly.
Okay, y'all, that was a free nugget right there. That right there, if you take it and apply it today, pow, watch the magic work. Tell us, before we continue this, this is crazy, because I think it's so important to talk about authenticity. I can't even talk right now. And the fact that, it's okay. It's okay. And it's a skill that we have to learn a lot of times, because we have pushed it all down. We want to fit in.
Right.
And where we fitting in, we probably don't even need to be. So tell people how they can connect with you, TJ.
Sorry, with me?
Yes, with you.
My website is the easiest. It's a tricky address, but tjguttormson.com, or you can go to Imagine Insight. We'll forward you to the same thing. My website's a very easy place to get a hold of me, or if you're a Facebook person, you can do a Centered Communication group on Facebook. There's 4,000 or 5,000 people on there, and I'm active pretty much every day. And LinkedIn, if you're not a Facebook person, TJ Guttormson on LinkedIn. I'm also active there pretty much every day. So I'm very easy to get a hold of, and I love connecting with people on this stuff.
Yeah, because, one of the things that I was so excited to speak with you about is how you talk about the communication and our interaction. And you brought it up a little earlier about how we interact a lot about our private and personal, but a lot of time we kind of fake it so long in the professional realm. We kind of got it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But when it comes to our private, that's why I love when you say that's most of the time, because in our private sector of our life, it is so hard to be true to who you are, because you're trying to scare, not scare the other person away.
Yeah.
So can you talk to us about one of the things about communicating in your private life with your friends? Give us like 3 tips.
Sure. So it's interesting, because what you said is something that, a lot of people worry that, well, if I say what I'm thinking, if I do what I want to do, if I, show people my real self, I might lose them. But what really happens is you're going to lose the people you're not compatible with. You're going to lose the people who are holding you back from having the life that you want to have. And I don't know about you, but that just sounds like a good thing to me.
That's right. Yeah.
So what's going to happen is that the people who are compatible with you, the people who are, weird or wonderful or interesting in the same ways as you, they're going to be drawn to you. You're going to be drawn to them when you express yourself authentically. So first tip, you asked for 3, is that keep in mind that if you're being yourself and someone around you are reacting negatively to you, well, that person or those people are holding you back from being who you are and living how you want to live.
Tell
If you
them.
can internalize that, then it becomes so much easier not to really care that those people don't like whatever it is that they don't like. And then when that happens, now if you're the most unlucky people on this are the people who then lose, a few of the people that they considered close people. And I'm using unlucky kind of playfully here because losing them isn't actually a bad thing. But then they have that, what I call the panic period, where they might feel like, oh, I don't have enough people. I don't have people right now. Well, second tip is if you last through that, if you move through that and you keep expressing yourself, you keep being yourself, it's only a matter of time, usually only a matter of weeks. If you're not very social, maybe a handful of months, but then you'll start seeing people trickle in that you really connect with. And those are going to be the people that when you meet them, you're excited about them. You might not even know why you're excited about them. You just feel, oh, there's something about this person. Now, it's easy to confuse that with romantic interest if it's the gender you're attracted to, and that's okay. But you'll also see it with people that you don't have romantic interest in, that you're just fascinated by, or you feel good around them.
That's how I told my kids, sorry to interrupt, but that's exactly how I tell my kids, even when they were little.
Mm-hmm.
But as an adult, when you talk to somebody and you walk away from that conversation, like, yeah, that was cool.
Right.
Like, yeah, I want to know more about you. Right.
Right.
I want to know. But if you walk away from that conversation going, what the hell was that?
Uh-huh.
Like that was hard. That's not your tribe, right?
Exactly.
And so I love that you say that because you do feel that like, oh, I want her to be my friend, right? That was fun.
Exactly.
I'm going to call her back.
Yeah. And when it just feels comfortable or easy or interesting or fun. Now, tip number 2 is get through that period of kind of feeling uncomfortable because you're changing and things are changing around you, and just wait for that feeling to pop up when you meet people. And then to tip number 3 is if you want something to happen, make it happen. Don't wait for it to happen. Don't trust other people to make it happen. That other person that you're having that feeling with of ease or fun or whatever, more likely than not, they're also having that same reaction. But they might not be comfortable or used to initiating, further contact, exchanging contact info, going out for coffee or whatever makes sense. So I'm a pragmatic. Like I love discussing the big topics and the abstracts and the psychology and philosophies, but I am a pragmatic. As to me, everything has to have a way to be applied, or it's it's fun to discuss, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
So the third thing is get comfortable extending interactions past the first one. Get comfortable exchanging contact information, whatever's comfortable for you, phone numbers, Facebook, whatever. Get comfortable doing that by practicing it with anyone that you meet that you kind of go, yeah, they're all right. Just exchange, because having a new friend on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, not a big deal. And as long as they're not annoying or someone you want to avoid, just get used to that so that when you meet someone that you're like, oh, this is someone interesting, it's going to be so much more comfortable for you to exchange that contact info because you have that experience already. And then from there, give invitations, take the initiative to meet, be the person that makes stuff happen, because that's the only way you're reliably going to get what you want.
Wow. Because that is one of the things that is so important to living a healthy life.
Mm-hmm.
We think of health as just our skill or what we put in our mouth, but to have healthy, full relationships is priceless.
Oh, yeah. In Norway, we tend to define health as not just the absence of illness, but a healthy physical, mental, and social life. And so it's incredibly important.
It is incredibly important. What I really I took from this whole thing, thank you so much, because TJ, this was absolutely amazing, because it's so important in this time that we are able to connect and be our true selves instead of hiding, who we are from the people that we want to be with, but we're scared to be our truth. And I see that so much with my friends and relationships, and just be you, because you can't stay this representative
Right.
for a long period of time. That's just not going to work. I mean, we can do that at work. We can go to work and be like, yes, hi,
Right.
how are you? You know how you answer the phone and you're so professional. And
Right.
then you be like, oh, hey girl, what? Like, how you doing? You know?
If you keep pretending to be someone, you're going to attract the people attracted to the person you're pretending to be. And so if you're, being extra careful and extra polite and extra whatever, then you're going to have friends who either expect you to be that always, or who are that themselves. Might not be the people that you're going to have the most fun with.
I agree. And I want to have fun with people who know I'm weird and could go with it. It's so funny because with all of this, all that you do and all that you talk about, you on Misfit One. So we're going to talk about living fit, focus plus intentional equals transformation. And I love how you are doing that in your field. But how are you taking care of yourself, TJ? What does your mornings look like?
So this is an interesting timing for this question. I have about a month ago recovered from 2.5 years of illness.
Wow.
And so right now I'm very much focused on getting back. Now, I've always been an active person. I tend to, at least when I was younger, I'm turning 41 next week. So I tended to have a lot of energy. I've always been into sports. I've always been into fitness. I've always worked out. Even through my illness, I was doing that as best I could. Right now, my focus is, it's threefold. It touches on the eating better than I have been, because when you've been ill and your energy is down and all that, just cooking and being conscious of it. I did it well on my good days and then not well at all on the bad days. So I just started about a month ago, when I recovered, to track what I eat, pay attention to my nutrients, pay attention to my calorie intake and all of that. I have matched that with the training regimen that I have. And so I do cardio, I do weight training. This weekend, I'm going hiking in Death Valley for 3 days. And so I like taking care of my body and staying fit. Now, don't get me wrong. I still eat ice cream and I still have chips. I still enjoy myself. I'm not perfect, especially not in my nutrition, but I do better than I tended to do when I was younger. I ate more vegetables than I ever have in my life. And so those are two of them. It's eating better and it's staying active. I go to the gym, where I go running 4 to 5 times a week now. And then the last part is bringing back my social life. I have not been very social. My wife is super social. She can't sit still. She needs to be around people all the time. So right now I'm just kind of latching on to her to get back in the saddle and getting used to going out and socializing with groups and stuff. And so it's funny for me, because I now kind of get to feel what it's like for a lot of people who haven't done a lot of socializing. Because I've socialized some in the last 2.5 years, but there were times I couldn't get out of bed for several days at a time.
Right.
So I'm rusty. And so I get to go out and work on that and experience it again, which is a lot of fun for me.
And that is exciting. That's some good self-care there, eating better, eating more vegetables and getting some workouts in, and being in that social component is key.
Yeah.
It is very key. I really absolutely adored this whole conversation, because this is what is important to I think everybody who is listening. We all feel that I got it, but do we?
Right.
So before I wrap it up, tell us again, how can they connect with you?
Sure. So if you're on LinkedIn, TJ Guttormson, I'm sure my name is in the title or somewhere. You can find it. You can find me there. You can follow me. You can message me. There are links. Actually, if you go to my profile there, you'll see my featured posts. You can find links that give you free access to my LinkedIn courses for 24 hours. So you can check out my courses there for free if you want. You don't even have to sign up anywhere. You just click it and then you get it. So that's an easy way. On Facebook, the group Centered Communication. Join that. I Like I said, I'm active. I answer all the questions in there. I post content usually 5 times a week. We have discussions in there, group discussions. It's a lot of fun. And then, of course, there's my website, tjguttormson.com, where you can go and read about my public speaking services, my coaching services. I have a bunch of blog articles and of course, contact forms. You can reach me from there.
Perfecto. And we are, going to wrap it up, but I want to leave the last words to you. Do you have any words of wisdom?
Well, firstly, I want to thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun. I've done a lot of podcasts over the year, and these are my favorite ones where we can just kind of sit down and talk. And we didn't have a big pre-planned, structured thing. We just go with what feels right for us. And I've had a lot of fun. So thank you for having me.
Thank you.
For the listeners, my thing is consistent effort over time creates results. And so as long as you're patient with yourself and you take the next step, you're going to get to where you want to be. Don't try to do it all at once. Don't think that you have to go from where you are now to where you want to be in the next 2 weeks or month. Just focus on the next step. If you're good at focusing on the next step, seeing where should I challenge myself? What should I practice? What should I do more of? Then you're gonna reach your goal faster than you think, and you're gonna reach it a lot faster than if you put too much pressure on yourself to succeed immediately. So focused effort over time will get you there.
And that's a drop mic moment right there. Boom. Until next time, you guys, live fit. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Misfit One Lifestyles. Listen, when you are fed up and sick and tired of living this stifled, overwhelmed, and overstressed life, and you're ready to live the fullest, richest, and healthiest life by gaining more confidence, more energy, and more clarity, living in your best self, you know what to do, right? Go ahead, go to my website, misfit1.com. Sign up for our online courses, Creating Healthy Habits, so that you too can live fit, focus, move with intention, and transform your life.